subscribe.
Whenever I try to look back on Jet Set Radio Future with a critical lens, I always have a hard time explaining what makes it so fun. You've got delinquents on roller skates grinding and tricking their way around a semi-open world, spraying graffiti and avoiding police. That's really this entire game boiled down to just a single sentence, but what is harder to tell you about is how it plays. Jet Set Radio Future is all about flow. The premise is simple, but its complexity comes from trying to keep your speed and tricks going through the journey. Whether you're tagging specific locations or bosses, or doing trick combos, the more you get into the zone of grinding, wall riding, boosting, etc., the more enjoyable the experience is. That sense of carrying momentum is super engaging and becomes more satisfying the better you get at it. When you eventually hit a roadblock, and you will always hit a roadblock, it sucks. Because everyone is on skates, normal traversal is like playing on ice. Getting the speed going can be super frustrating because of the wonky physics. You get drawn out, start noticing more flaws like the confusing layouts or the hit or miss art direction. But when you get back on the rails, none of that matters. All you need to worry about is your next trick. It would be dumb of me to neglect mentioning this game's style. Jet Set Radio Future is oozing with it. There are crazy set pieces, a myriad of skaters, each with their own art styles, and an absolutely amazing soundtrack. This is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, period. And whenever I hop back on the rails and start jamming out, it's bliss every time.
8 out of 10!
On the other side of my Jet Set Radio Future disc is Sega GT 2002. That's probably the best way I can introduce this game. I wanted to give it a fair shot. I tried a bunch of different car models and tracks, and it wasn't a bad time. However, it didn't really do a great job of keeping me hooked. Sega GT falls victim to a couple of my pet peeves in games. First, it's a sports sim game. Okay, maybe not like Madden or The Show, but I would still consider this a sports game. The problem I have with these games, and GT in particular, is that it doesn't really do anything to entice people who aren't into the sport. Maybe if I was into racing, I would find it cool to experiment with different car models and locations, but I'm not. If I want a racing game, I'll play something with some more fantastical elements like Mario Kart or Sega All-Stars. Those games have racing gameplay and other elements mixed in to keep everyone interested, or frustrated depending on who you ask. Sega GT 2002 and other sports games don't really even try to do that. The second reason is that this game and other games like it try too hard to be realistic. Every game that does this never has a very long lifespan from my experience, especially for a game from 2002. It's not even that this game looks bad, it looks fine for its time, but it's incredibly dated. If I'm looking for a game that looks realistic, I will always buy the newest version of whatever I want. The realism aspect also affects the controls and game feedback. In Sega GT 2002, you feel like you're driving a real car. The problem is, driving a real car isn't that fun. There's a reason arcade racers don't control like real cars most of the time. This game has so many things going against it for me, but it helps that I do like racing games. The driving isn't bad, it's just not very fun. The cars mean nothing to me, but I can always get a kick out of racing other people, or more accurately computers, because let's be honest, there's no way I'd get any of my friends to play this.
5 out of 10.
Merry Christmas.